Hello?
What's up, girl? What happened after Tony dumped you?
Girl, I'm over it. I went from heartbreak to hate.
Hello, Bo.
Hello, Joy. You ready to get up in this podcast gig, girl? Do this podcast thing, girl.
I'm ready to do it.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
God, that hurt me so bad.
But it was so good. We're just coming off watching an episode of RuPaul's Drag Race, kids, so...
And, you know...
I had a request.
You got to get down with the vernacular.
Yep, you got to learn your new vocab words and such.
We got hitches in our get-alongs.
Which I had to learn about that, because I started off by saying I had a stitch in my back, which is when you have like a little point of hurt, and the old folks call it a stitch.
And then the old folks also call it a hitch in your get-along when your sciatica is giving you pain and you ain't walking right.
So yeah, I'm definitely going to use a hitch in my get-along.
Which I have that at least once a year, you know, when my back goes out.
I do. Well, yeah.
Because I have back problems, y'all, and it's genetic. My family, my father's entire family, once you hit 20-something, it's usually 23, 24, 25, you've got to get this sciatic nerve problem.
Which is unfortunate.
If I had that problem, I wouldn't have children.
How come we never get the good things from our families? Have you, I have, the biggest, widest feet for a woman. I got that from my dad. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, my grandmother on my mom's side wears, a size 5.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's always all of the hair, hairy, 2 eyebrows trying to turn into one, extra hairy arms, the whole thing. It's another thing on the paternal side, but whatever.
Because you know what that means?
Better.
If you got one eyebrow, that's okay nowadays.
Well, it would be, but I have tweezed that into the hairs in the middle. Don't even think about growing back. I've tweezed them for so fucking long. Because that was before bushy eyebrows were a thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Back in the day, that wasn't cute. And then they tried to bring them bitches back. It's too late. I can't regrow them.
I mean, as a 43-year-old male, I have to say, I just started getting those eyebrows that I have to do something with because I naturally have a good space between my eyebrows.
You know what? Fuck you.
Ha. But I was trying to segue having one eyebrow into our podcast today, which are the outsiders are no longer the outsiders.
That's true.
So freak flags, weird flags, all good flags.
All good flags.
Are welcome at our table. Maybe not all.
Well.
I don't have plastic sheets, so please do not pee on me. That's all I gotta say.
We're not even gonna get into golden showers. I'm not here for it. There are some things.
Or scat. No. If you enjoy scat and you enjoy golden showers, then that's you, girl. But I'm gonna need that to be known up front.
I was gonna say, live your best consensual life. Okay?
Yes, just make sure there's consent. Don't be dropping loads on people's chests when they're taking a nap, because that ain't cute.
No, that is not cute.
Anywho.
Okay, sorry.
Do we want to talk about, so we're talking about outsiders. We're talking about people whose years ago maybe been known as the freaks, the weirdos.
And now,
if you don't have one of these freak weirdo things, you are a freak and weirdo yourself.
That is
if you're
true.
Normal, whatever normal means,
right?
You are a freak.
You are. It's true.
Yeah.
It's back in the day, even in our day.
I
realize I'm in that age now where I say back in my day with all seriousness in my heart.
Yeah. No.
Back in my day.
When I say back in the day, I'm still talking about, come on, girl. 1999 was 20 years ago.
I know.
The world was supposed to end 20 years ago.
That's true. But we can start with tattoos, because we both have tattoos.
Yes.
Visible tattoos.
Visible.
Definitely were such the no-no. And now...
Well, and the thing of it is that it used to be a thing, and I think we've talked about that, at least on the podcast, but it used to be a tattoo artist would not give you a permanently visible... I have my hands tattooed. So I'm old school, so you go through the hidden tattoos, then you have one that's okay when you can see it when your sleeves rolled up or you're wearing shorts, and then you move into a visible tattoo. And like they would not do anything on your wrists, below your wrists, or above your shirt.
Okay. Yeah.
If you hadn't had something slightly visible before that. So it was kind of like a rite of passage. Like they called them career killers back in the day, which meant that once you had this, you were stuck in the career that you were in. And typically that meant you were going to be in a service industry job or something that was, whatever some people still have issues with tattoos.
Some people do, but it's... I wanted to say, like, tattoos are kind of like the gateway. They were kind of like the test baby in a way, because now you can go into certain offices and you can see visible tattoos on people. You can see, nose rings. I even remember nose rings.
Yeah,
were
I mean,
taboo,
I've had my nose pierced since '93.
You know what I mean? I remember having to take it out. I've had my nose pierced multiple times because the industry I used to work in, that was a definite no-no. If you were a quote-unquote professional.
And you have a degree and you have your nose pierced.
I was like, what? You can't do your job if you have your nose. So nose piercings, you can see people with green hair, different colored hair.
Oh, yeah.
All of those things were so taboo, so absolutely negative. Maybe on Halloween, possibly, you could have some colored hair. But that stuff better watch out tomorrow.
I don't like it being called colored hair.
Okay.
Hair of color, please.
I get with you. Okay.
Still got the cough, people. Still got the cough. I'm gonna die with this cough. Anyway,
it's the magical viral cough. That
doesn't go away for like 3 months or 6 months. They said 6 months is when it's gone.
Looking forward to spring and summer here.
Yeah, my birthday. I'm going with my birthday, May 1st.
All right.
Send all the gifts. But yeah, so not everyone has tattoos. If you don't have tattoos, you're a unicorn.
Yep, you're a unicorn.
And I think for like piercings as well, I mean, most people have some sort of piercing. I remember when ear piercing on guys was Fag City.
It was a certain side. Remember that? Like,
what was that? If you had it on the left side, it was wrong. But if you had it on the right side, you weren't gay. Right side was right, left side was gay.
Okay.
I think that's how it went.
I don't remember, but I
had them both pierced.
And that was when guys first started. I remember the evolution. First, it was one. If you're a guy, you could get one, but you had to get it on the correct side.
Right.
Sorry, allow me to say that. And then the first couple guys that had both of their ears pierced, it's like, what kind of alien are you? And now it's like, not only do guys get both pierced, they were the biggest fucking diamonds. You know what I mean? It's just like...
Well, the funny thing is, I had my nose pierced before I ever had my ears pierced. I actually had a tattoo before I had my ears pierced.
Oh, okay.
Which was weird.
That is. I guess you were just like, I'm going in my own order.
Well, it's one of those things. Everybody had their ear pierced back in the day.
Yeah.
That's why when I was like, I'm going to get 2 piercings. So, I can look fancy.
So it can be different. Exactly.
And then I had the industrial piercing where they took the small hole that was pierced through my ear and then expanded it, which is amazingly fun.
I bet it feels so good.
So then I didn't have like the super large gauge, small gauge, because the smaller the gauge, the bigger the hole. So I had, I don't remember what it was, but it was something smaller than larger in size, smaller in number than the normal piercing. And that bled like a motherfucker. That bled worse than anything. And that was just one ear. And I'd already let the other one grow over. And then I had the cartilage piercings.
Yes. The eyebrow piercings.
No,
I know you didn't, but I'm just saying you made me think of when bitches everywhere had an eyebrow piercing.
Oh, eyebrow piercings.
Which they're not necessarily bad. It's just that now, strangely, nobody has an eyebrow piercing anymore.
I see them every once in a while, but the thing about eyebrow piercings, and I was one of those tongue piercing people. So, no, I didn't have my tongue pierced before I had earrings. No, okay. So I did my tongue pierced for a good year, I think it was. It was the 90s, and that's what you did. But
also something you don't see very often. So I just feel like there's an evolution of piercings. I'm sorry, continue.
No, it's just eyebrow piercings to me, like there's certain people that could wear them, but certain people couldn't. And it's the amount of fatty tissue you have in your face. Because if you got your eyebrow pierced and your face was not taut, and that's taut as in tight, not taut as in learned.
Right.
If your face wasn't learned, you couldn't your skin would sag where the piercing was. And so lots of people have like, you can still see it, like their skin sags in like one area where their eyebrow piercing was.
I was going to say that I know people like where it's like unfortunate like that it's ripped at some point or something. I mean, that to me is like the caution with an eyebrow ring, as I feel like it rips, or it's easier to rip than anything else. You know what I mean?
I mean, you're putting your shirt on.
Exactly. You rub your face with a towel too. But, okay, I don't know about a blowjob being a problem. But,
I mean, if the dick flies out of your mouth and smacks your eyebrow piercing off.
I can't with you.
What if ghosts?
I know.
Ghosts just slamming things.
I know, but no. So like even piercings have kind of taken their own evolution, because back in the 90s, everybody had an eyebrow ring or a belly button ring.
Ooh.
Or a tongue piercing if you were really daring. And those I don't think you see as much anymore. Now it's like, well, I've got my inner Daith done, or my, I don't know all the names, all the ones, the fancy.
Yeah. And then, do you want to bring up that bullshit stuff you're telling me about, since we're talking about piercings?
Yes. What I need you to be specific. I've brought
where
up
people go and get their earrings aesthetically adjusted.
Yes.
What is that called again?
Oh God. Oh, what is it called?
I can't remember.
It's like curated ears. It's a thing. It's a thing. And some shops even advertise that they do curated ears, which is they will give you an individualized ear piercing. So like multiple piercings. You'll get 3 or 4 in the best arrangement for your personal ear, which probably just means they choose 3 or 4 spots.
Which means somebody along the lines realized that you could still pierce more than like half an inch from the bottom of the ear. Mm-hmm. So someone realized that there's more. If some bitch has a fatty earlobe, you can toss some more earrings into it. Which I personally have big earlobes, so I could have more piercings.
But I feel the problem is, now, this is not scientific, but I'm just going to say the people that I know that have attempted to get more than one, because when you get a curated ear piercing, it's not a single piercing. Mm-mm. You're getting 3 or 4 holes on the same day at the same time. Mm-hmm. And maybe this is a young person's game, because bitches past 30, once you try and get more than one thing pierced at a time, your body rejects it immediately, and it's infection city. Like, it's just false.
Well, and plus, you already got holes. You got holes everywhere. Your holes are saggy.
Well, damn, they're not saggy yet. Shit.
I mean,
they're not as high as they once were.
Ears are one of the things that are telling of age, because they start to sag as people get older.
Yeah.
Like if you look at older people, their ears become longer. They start to, so it's one of the telling signs of an age. Yeah. So yes, sagging. Sagging Holes. It's my new band.
That's an amazing band name.
Album available on iTunes. So we had piercings, tattoos, all those body modifications. Mm-hmm. Something that's also outsider-ish that I find slightly annoying, and I'm sorry to all the listeners, but it's really slightly annoying to me, are the amount of people who are cat people. And I know you're a cat person.
Yeah, that was, I think, one of the things that made me come up with the topic.
Cat ladies.
Cat ladies are in fashion now. There was another thing. We'll get into that later. But yeah, the cat ladies. So why is that annoying?
Because I've had a cat from 84 to 99. So that was my gig back in the day. I had a cat for 15 years. Princess, rest in peace, girl. I just feel that it's like a status thing. I mean, people do it with their dogs too, but I find that they're all like, oh, at home with a box of Triscuits on a Friday night, old cat lady lifestyle, and they're like 12 years old. That kind of shit. Or like, I got this fun printed shirt at a vintage store. I'm just going to wear it for my cat. Well, cat lady city, that kind of shit.
So I feel like you're getting into the deeper discussion of the whole outsiders becoming normal.
Yeah.
Because, like, obviously, if you had a cat, definitely if you had 2 cats or more,
right,
and you were a lady single of a certain age, it was like there was this horrible like stereotype. It was like a bad thing to be a cat lady.
Yeah.
And so then people were trying to come back into like, hey, I have cats, it's okay. And people were like, okay, I guess it's not the worst thing in the world that you have cats. And then now it's gone into deep end, like where you're talking about, where it's just It's definitely overboard with the
doing,
merchandise of it all, the memeing of it all,
right. And I saw that they're doing a cat calendar with extremely hot men to like put that cat lady shit. I can't think of words. But they're just trying to say that you're not all cat ladies. There's extremely good-looking men with cats too.
Oh, that is the newest evolution of it.
Yeah.
Yes, especially if you're a man who likes a cat
with a beard and a plaid
that
shirt
also helps.
and tight little pants
if you have video, okay, if you have video of you and a cat playing, oh, bitches everywhere get wet immediately.
Pussy for pussy.
Yes.
I'm gonna put it out there. Yeah. Let's just have an app called that.
But it's another one of those old stereotypes, right? It's a stereotype that only women like cats.
Only women have cats.
Men don't like cats. You know, they drown your cat if you're not looking and shit. I don't know, maybe not drown, but yeah. So.
But dogs were guys. I mean, that's the things, the puppy dog tails and all that. I mean, that's hypermasculinity at its worst, saying that a certain animal belongs to a certain gender.
Yeah,
it's true that most people automatically say a cat is a female. Automatically, people will say she for a cat. The pronouns can we talk about the pronouns they apply to animals?
Let's go for it.
Dogs are automatically male, and unless everybody calls my dog a female.
Really?
Now, I think
it's the type of dog.
Because my dog's pretty.
I think that's what happens.
He's got the curls. He's got the white hair. He always looks like a puppy.
Like if it's a lab or a pit bull.
They're boys.
If it's
even though they're named
a Bichon or a Cocker Spaniel or Chihuahua, any of the cutesy things.
They're always female.
There it is.
Anyway, old cat ladies. Old cat ladies still exist because of those, but you know what now? There's a war on them because they have too many cats and we got to take them away. So now the lifestyle of the cats are up for grabs. So if someone decides that, having 12 cats is bad for the cats, not the old lady. If they're 12, the cats are in danger of maybe not getting enough food, the smell, the ammonia involved, they will take the cats away.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that's not wrong, because I do think that too many animals.
Yeah, I mean, there's a limit.
Only so much you can do.
There's really.
I mean, I have one, and we have deep conversations. I just told him earlier today that because of the massive snow that we had here, and I don't want anybody in the world to think that we actually had any more snow than Illinois ever fucking has. But people were screaming and crying that the world was coming to an end for the snow. No bread, no milk for miles. And
that's what we always do.
So I've spent a lot of time with my dog this weekend, and so we just needed a little extra space.
That's right.
Between each other. Because he likes to push me.
So along those same lines of, cat ladies or whatever, I also feel in fashion now it's a safe space to be like under 75 and do quote unquote old lady activities. So there's all kinds of YouTube tutorials if you want to learn to crochet, if you want to cross stitch, needlepoint, do all kinds of embroidery or stick sequins on shit. That's like something I saw. I don't know what that is.
Stitching and crocheting, knitting.
Any of those things.
Yeah. I feel that is definitely, especially like the past 10 years, I think it's picked up pace. So yeah, it's completely normal.
Which I feel, as somebody who was like cross-stitching at the age of like 10.
Right.
Okay. And it was...
You had your coming... you feel like
taboo.
You feel...
Yeah, see, I feel like you with the tattoo because I was like, back in the day, it was not safe to admit that you did those things. You know, I have a friend now that gives me a hard time about it. And I just... push her off saying, listen, my inner 80-year-old lady just likes to do her own activities. Thank you very much.
Well, I feel that's kind of things, like I learned to crochet and to knit from my grandmother when I was a kid because all applicable avenues of jobs my grandmother was trying to give me, sewing, all those things. She didn't have a lot of faith in me as a human being.
Oh, no.
So she thought I would be just a stay-at-home crochet person because she knew I was lazy. Not saying that crocheting people are lazy, but just giving me options for staying at home and not going out and murdering people. And so...
Which was nice of her.
Yes. So, like, I remember learning that and never ever telling anybody that I knew
I bet you didn't.
I would tell people I sucked dick before I told somebody I crocheted.
That's true.
And that was the 80s.
Maybe that's where we still have to come from. Because I still don't know very many men that, like, I couldn't name you a guy that cross stitches. That's for fucking sure.
Right. Well,
maybe crochet. Maybe.
I mean, I'm seeing a room full of bearded men.
It's always bearded men with you.
Because they always have something to hide, like no chin.
Says the man who currently has a little bit of a beard. I mean, you can see your chin.
I have a chin. I have an obvious chin. I have a very prominent jawline. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, I get compliments on it, so thanks.
My point was that he has a beard, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
don't have a beard. I have...
What do you have? Just some hairs?
Beardish.
What do you call beard-ish? Wow.
Beardish.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, like I was saying in my lines, in my world, and me...
Correct. Go ahead about you. I'm ready.
I just picture bring your craft beer and do crafts, bro. Like that's a good Facebook tagline. I feel like that would be it would bring it all in.
I haven't seen it unless it's a secret
I should
society.
start that.
You go for it.
I don't have nothing to do with them. They can do whatever they want to. And then they all crochet like Pabst Blue Ribbon, like, make like beer cozies.
Covers.
Yes.
Beer cozies, yeah, you know that's what it would be.
Absolutely. So just make beer covers. I mean, I'm giving someone like a complete career path here. So feel free to take this on the road. Crochet.
Yes.
Craft beer with your crafts, bro.
There. Ta-da! He's done most of the work for you.
Trademark. Anyway, so yeah, I think a lot of those things, like as a kid, I learned to leather work.
Ooh, fancy.
I haven't seen that come back into fan, but I'm not into leather, so that's the kind of thing, though. Leather's not something I want people to have to. I don't want you to kill animals in order to make a wallet.
No.
But things that I have done in my past.
Okay. When you were
keychains, stamping leather.
Did you take wood shop?
I did not take wood shop. I took drafting classes.
Ooh, okay.
So I can show you how to build a building.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
But that's
it.
You can draft
I took a drafting class. I hated every second. But it was really more like, learning how to draw perfect letters and like the squares and stuff. That's what I remember. We didn't draw any fucking buildings. We weren't advanced, clearly.
I mean, this was 7th grade in Kentucky, Joy. So advanced. I don't know.
I was also it wasn't 7th grade. It was high school, but I don't remember.
No, we would do. Yeah, you definitely learn like 3D drafting of buildings and boxes and how a box looks from above.
Yeah.
And then you can turn it into. I mean, you went to engineering school for engineering.
Yeah. But I'm talking about back in the day, like when I was younger. I don't remember us doing anything that advanced.
Well, we had in Kentucky. I feel that they have a set curriculum for most students, but then they offer you trades type things because they know that not everyone's going to go into it. So half the year in my 7th grade year was drafting.
Okay.
Then the other half of the year was leather working.
I got you.
So, and that was
get you a trade and
get you a couple trades.
Okay.
Learn 6 months of it. I mean, I feel that's resume builder. I can make a wallet. I can sew a wallet with some leather stitching. Stamp it with some Jesus Christ stamps because they only had that. I mean, they didn't have any options. They didn't like fuck you or nothing like that.
I know. That probably broke your heart.
It did. So we had some podcasts about wishes. Mm-hmm. And that's witches with a speech impediment.
Right.
If you'd like to reference those are in October. We had part 1 and part 2.
Mm-hmm. I came out the closet, so you should go back and listen.
Joy
I'm not going to tell you
closet.
what.
She's not going to tell you what. So if you want to know what closet she came out of, go do it now. Actually finish the show. Then listen to every show between now and then and backtrack it.
There you go.
But do part 1 before part 2. Unless you really want the suspense of waiting to see what you're going to come out of the closet. Then part 1 was when she came out of the closet, so do part 2 first.
Yeah, there you
go. Okay, anyway. Witches. Mm-hmm. So now it's okay to study many ways of religions and alternative lifestyles, choices when it comes to religions and witchcraft. Perfectly fine.
Yep, so fine.
I don't have problems with
hot
it
thing.
So much. But I do. Anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. That's perfectly fine. But you know what else is okay? It's okay to be completely satanic. It's okay to be goth now. Mm-hmm. It's okay to like horror movies publicly without looking like a mass murderer. Unless you continue to talk like you're a mass murderer, not pointing my fingers at anybody in the room, myself. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. Like all that stuff is fine. It's okay to be a comic book nerd. It's okay to, like all those things that I was as a kid. It's okay now, and it makes me mad because it just makes me feel like
all your suffering was in vain.
All my suffering was in vain because people can do it now as adults. Maybe they didn't do it when they were young, so I will give myself credit for that.
Okay.
Being original, sticking to the timeline, being of the moment when the moments happened. Me, that's me. So I didn't find out horror movies later in life. I started watching horror movies straight out the gate. I didn't find comic books. I couldn't even read comic books when I first started collecting comic books. I just had them until I could read them. And so things like that, witchcraft books, all those things that were in my youth are now perfectly fine for adults to adapt to those lifestyles. And not even a lifestyle. You could be definitely walking around in your Walmart basics and then say, but I'm a witch. Or I really love Susie and the Banshees. Like, you know, nothing against Susie and the Banshees because I love them. But that's just the thing.
Yeah, you just feel like it's all part of the cover. It's
People
not
used to
true.
be unique.
They did.
And now it just seems like everyone sucks the uniqueness out of other people because of Tumblr, because of things like that, that you show you flashy pictures. You're like, oh, look at this picture of this thing. I want to know what it is. Like before, there used to be this whole underground lifestyle.
That was it. And there was only a couple people like in the whole town that were like that. You know what I mean? I don't know about cities. Because we didn't grow up in cities, right? We've lived in them, but we didn't grow up in them. But yeah, it's like even going back to something as basic as wearing like the Birkenstock boots, or the Doc Marten boots. The Doc Marten boots, and then like military color green pants and stuff, and like having one side of your head shaved. Like,
that's me, 8th grade. Why are you jamming on me?
But there were 2 girls in my middle school that did that, and those were the only 2 girls. You know what I mean? And there were whispers about their sexual orientation.
They were lesbians.
Clearly, obviously. And nobody else did those things. You know, it wasn't like other people were running on eBay to find Doc Martens that looked, you know, worn in or whatever. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is like I've been a combat boot wearer forever. And so my thing always was I'd buy a pair of combat boots and I'd wear them till they wore out. I never went and bought fancy ones. I'd buy, you know, military issue ones you get at your surplus places or whatever. But I'd wear it till they wore out and then buy another pair. But people really want, like, they want them to be worn out brand new, right? They're paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
So that it looks
authentic.
Yes, quote unquote
and
authentic.
So like that's my thing. It's like I can always clock a motherfucker. Like I guarantee you 90% of the people out there wearing Doc Martens today don't realize that Doc Martens were part of skinhead Nazi culture in the 80s.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, I posted a meme about that I made last week where like there's this trend in gay world where every gay man has the tightest pants possible rolled right above their boots and they'll wear Doc Martens, and then they'll wear like a white t-shirt with a black, just like completely devoid of understanding that there's a whole,
because I can see the picture as you're describing it.
Yes,
I'm like, oh no, why?
There's a whole aesthetic that was assigned to skinheads, more specifically, you know, the Nazi skinheads, because there is a difference between skinheads and Nazis. Anyway, so just putting that out there, that without any frame of reference, it's a style now.
Yeah, people not seeing as they're building it, like, I wonder why this seems familiar.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the skinheads was late 70s, not 80s type thing. Still exists. They're still out there. Growing up, it would never have occurred to me to dress in any kind of German Nazi SS uniform.
Right.
Like, I would have that knowledge that this was wrong.
Correct.
So even in all my experimental days of wearing whatever clothes and combat boots, I still steered away. Like, I personally love the color black and red together, but if you wear red laces in your combat boots, that means that you've killed a person in a certain type of way. It's similar to gay flagging, but people don't know that. So there are reasons for wearing colored laces in combat boots that people are not aware of.
Yeah.
And so I keep, I always reference that, like, I really want red laces in my boots, but I know I can't because in my mind, I might be walking down the street and someone may think that I'm a Nazi skinhead or something like that.
Yeah.
Not with this complexion and bone structure, but still, I could be marked as one. Because every now and then I do shave my head down to nothing.
I was going to say, yeah, when you shave it down, if you didn't have any facial hair, they would think.
Oh my God, really?
What?
I am part German. But anyway.
Exactly. Like, don't get offended when I tell the truth that you were.
And I have the most Pacific blue eyes ever. So yeah, I understand it.
Yeah. Thank you for
Aryan Nation, blah, blah, blah. Got it. So, but now those outsider things are thrown away and people can wear apparently what they want to wear. And I mean, it's like I was telling you earlier, I was watching this show. I can't even remember the show, but there was a black woman, a young black girl, and she was dressed like what would come across as a stereotypical Latino gentleman's outfit from the 90s, like with a one button up,
at least in every movie that features.
Yeah, absolutely. Every stereotype ever, like the wife beater, the khaki pants, saggy a little bit with the one button up flannel shirt. That's the stereotypical Latino of the 90s. But I saw this, it was on a television show, and I was just like, what's going, like, we can do this now. Like, we can just take a style from somebody else, and that would be a stereotype of someone, and then just, because I'm not that race.
But you know what? There's somebody else. There's, I used to watch a show called Ink Master.
Oh, yes,
one of the judges on there, Oliver, forget his last name, but anyways, Oliver, he has worn that style, although it's not usually a flannel, but he's done that where he'll wear a white shirt and then he'll button the very top button. It'll be like a workman's shirt or something.
Yeah, no, it's Dickie shirts.
I'm like, Ollie, what are you doing? You're like the white Smith. I was like, I don't know what he's doing, but all right then, I guess, go for it. Do what you do.
Again, I wear Dickie shirts almost every single day, the Dickie work shirts. But I don't only wear one button
at the top
because I'm conscious of that.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the SoCal, the Southern California Latino guy. And they had to be a gangbanger if they were wearing that. It's totally stereotypical. But no, that's perfectly fine now.
Yeah.
Like, that's the aesthetic for young black females.
Yeah. I feel that, part of the problem, right, is everything is recycling. And as everything is done and redone a million times, people are going like, ooh, I still want to try and be different. So they're like, what if I just completely fake people out, just go into another culture, steal their stuff, bam, done and done. Which is the complaints that we've talked about before. I'm only going to talk about it briefly with, doing quote unquote supposed native inspired anything, right? Makeup, jewelry, whatever,
right?
Stone. I'm not going to get into it, but that's like the easiest one that people love to go to and take from. And it's like, just be your authentic self. Like, how hard is it just to truly do the things that you like, not for some image, some, character that you're creating for social media and whatever.
Well, people do that now too, yeah. They get that aesthetic that they want people to believe that they're like a 50s housewife. While I agree that the cinched waist looks amazing, do you really want that kind of... I don't know. People eat that shit up, though. Maybe we should switch it. Maybe that's our problem. Maybe we don't have looks.
Maybe not. Maybe that's it.
Maybe we should just work on becoming our fake selves. And...
we'll create the perfect character.
We'll get more followers on Instagram. Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's all about anything. You can't have natural talent.
No.
You have to have a package to go with it.
Something that looks flashy.
It looks flashy. So you and that's the whole thing when I talked about stop following fuckboys on social medias and stuff like that. It's like, what do they bring into your table other than ideas. Either you want to sleep with them or you want to look like them. So like, what good is that doing your mental health? You're never going to fuck this person. They're never going to fuck you unless you pay them enough, because they'll take money for that, and they'll take debit cards, and they'll take like PlayStation gift cards that are online. Anyway, they'll take any kind of form of currency for any way, shape, or form. But like mentally, how good is that for you? And again, if your aesthetic is not real, like if you force that, like I feel some people never seen horror movies. Never seen, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good example. I don't know. Do you have anything more to say about Insiders now?
No, I mean, in some ways, I want to say, like, it's good that, certain things are no longer considered taboo, and that it's okay to, if that's your true, authentic self. It's just where it gets dangerous is, once again, when you're doing it for others, when you're doing it for anything other than what's true within you. Right.
Because if you switch up your style too much, I mean, I understand going with the flow and changing with the whatevers, but
or whatever. Yeah, but
be you, kids.
Just try.
There are people who will like you for who you are. I'm not saying I'm one of them, but you'll find somebody.
It was so nice, and then it turned.
Ciao.
And remember that to be beautiful and natural is the birthright of every woman. And I wish you all loads and loads of loveliness and good luck.